Okay, so we're live, so we're recording. So you guys know me. We're here with Marla Matthews, a very experienced social worker, talk show host of The Relationship Journey, which I've listened to at least 10 episodes, public speaker in over 50 libraries, and she was very active, sometimes doing 40 classes a month before COVID hit, and talking mostly about relationships. So she has some thoughts on relationships, on how relationships can be like Miracle Grow well, I'll let you finish.
Okay, thanks, Jen. I appreciate you having me. This is so much fun, and I love talking to you, and I love that you watch my shows. Thank you. You know, many years ago, I was sitting in a group, and I heard someone say that being in a relationship is like putting Miracle Grow on our defects, and that really hit me. And I thought to myself, yes, that's right. I can do everything and anything with such grace and poise, but when it comes to falling in love and being in a relationship, like, what is going on? All of a sudden, all these traits in me that are the least likable are coming to fruition, because we all have higher self. We have a higher self where we want to aspire to being forgiving and for being caring and compassionate. But let's face it, when we get into an intimate, passionate relationship, jealousy can come out, all the lower parts of our personality that we thought we had worked on, all of a sudden, oh my gosh, here I am. I mean, Cruella de Vil kind of thing, whereas we don't act like that necessarily with friendships and with family relationships. But when it comes to the romantic relationships, where I guess it's more passion is involved.
Passion, more neurochemistry, more neurochemicals, more oxytocin, more
Right.
dopamine. It's more like a drug than a friendship.
Right. It can be, yes. And
It can be addictive.
definitely starts out that way because our brain does change when we're attracted to someone.
Right.
So all of that happens. And then, I know when I'm with a friend, I don't care if one of my friends looks at someone else and says, oh, they're beautiful. But if I'm in a relationship, not that I don't like it, but it affects me. I feel it, and my senses go up like danger, danger. Like
true. Yeah.
I've
had to condition myself.
You know what I mean? That her.
Yeah.
In normal life, who cares? Somebody's beautiful. Okay, that's it. We get on with our day, kind of thing. But so many of these things happen, or, the jealousy, whatever else, insecurity, abandonment issues are so heightened when we get into these relationships. But it doesn't have to be that way. That's really the good news. It doesn't have to be that way. So what I want to talk about with you is your experiences. Have you know what I'm talking about? Have you experienced anything like this?
I've definitely experienced worry. Like in the last relationship, I remember it's like people say you're waiting for the shoe to drop. And I remember in 2008, I had a great boyfriend who reminded me of the last one a little bit. Great, both really great in so many ways. But during a lot of the time, I couldn't really enjoy myself because more the last one, because I know it's going to end. So I knew this one's going to end. And it's like you're just waiting for something to go wrong. So it's hard to feel at peace. So all the time, it's almost like I'm waiting for someone to knock on the door and tell me there's an emergency. So I'm always anxious. So
that's interesting, waiting for it to end. Why did you feel that way?
Well, we talked, and he wants children, I don't, so it has to end. Okay. So that's really the only issue, really. Okay. So yeah, that's a sad one that happened. That's a cliche. But other ones too, I guess, it's going to end. But this is like, oh man, this is so great. I don't want it to end.
Yeah. Or if you're too happy, you think, well, this can't last forever. And usually it doesn't.
Exactly.
Things happen. Life happens. I remember feeling that way with someone, and I could never really enjoy him because I was right. It did end for the reasons I had a feeling they were going to end. But yet, nevertheless, it's too bad that we can't just live in the moment. I think that's such I think that living in the now is just so hard. So hard.
Yeah. And I thought
everything does change. I mean, things always change. We're going to age. Things happen. Look at this whole COVID. This is a complete, like neon lights. Yes, things change and we don't have control. That's
right. No, we definitely don't have control. I just try to find the good in anyone. I'd say I'm decent at it still. It's
That's great.
hard though. But I guess one thing I have a question for you, or just a good discussion topic, is I find that I do best, you know, the whole marriage, every day living with someone thing is pretty normal in our society. I think it's still the norm for people to, as a young kid, be brought up by their parents and say, okay, you're going to find one person, you're going to marry them, you're going to live together, share the same bed, which, by the way, that ruins my sleep. It doesn't matter how great the person
Me
is.
too.
I don't get a great night's sleep. And a lot of healthy people who even are married and love the marriage can't sleep together. So that part I can't get on board with.
That's true.
But I tried that whole marriage situation for like 14 months until August, after about 10 years of not doing that, because I said I tried it twice. It doesn't work, but I don't get anything done. I mean, I can't, it's hard to do this because there would be someone behind me if I still had someone here in that situation. I don't know if that's how.
Sleeping, that's so unhealthy. Yeah, exactly. I think we should have our own rooms. I think that's much better. You know, sleep is for sleep. You should sleep. Yeah.
Exactly. Like,
maybe we could change the marriage rules or the living together rules for that.
Oh, I can write a whole book on, I mean, I'm going to wait till I'm a lot older because I don't think I have the authority on that. But one of the things I love to do, you know, my 80s maybe would say, okay, can we like look at this marriage thing and living together and cohabitation? Because I have so many thoughts on cohabitation and what's healthy and what's not. I guess everyone's different and what works for them. But
you know, I think a lot of people feel that way. They don't sleep as well with someone else. They can't get used to it, or what have you, if someone snores or whatever the issues are. And I think as a culture, we're just so ingrained to think there's something wrong with us if we don't like that, because married people or living together people sleep in the same bed. But it really is not really the most advantageous way to just sleep and rest.
No. I mean, and also, if you're Catholic, which now society is embracing spirituality, you know, I started doing health counseling and training 10 years ago, and their Instagram didn't exist. But now you see all over Instagram and Facebook, spirituality and energy, feeling energy is normalized. So if you feel energy and you're sleeping next to someone, no matter how great or horrible they are, I feel like it interacts with my energy, and then I'm not resting.
Yeah, it does. It's true. It's true. I mean, so that's like, I mean, you meet somebody, you get in a relationship, you get married or live together. Okay, we need separate rooms. I think the Lucy show had it right. You're too young to remember I Love Lucy.
Oh, I watched it.
Yeah, they had the twin beds. I think we're better off.
Right. I mean, with the wall in between.
I really like to have my own queen size bed, actually, preferably. Yep. I like the space. And you think about it. Yeah, I mean, why is that such a problem? It's just sleep. I mean, people, it's ridiculous.
And now we're seeing my mom, who you met, right, who she was on your first show ever. Now, she brought up to me that
interesting connection that I have with you and your dad and your mom.
So funny.
Talk about, I call it a God incidence. You know, you can't, because I don't believe in coincidence. I say it's a God incidence, like it's divine intervention. Sometimes, you know, you can explain these connections. I mean, if I didn't have to wait that day in your dad's office, the appointment, the person, whatever, was longer, I would have never met you.
Oh, wow.
Like, oh, what a nice dog. And I'm like,
oh my God.
Yeah, that's why I was outside walking around, because I just didn't feel like sitting there and waiting. I said, I'll walk around. Yeah, that's why.
Just to explain real quick for the viewer, my mom, you and my mom met over 10 years ago. I was in college. I hear that my mom was on some talk show, and then my dad's a dentist, just so happened to be your dentist. Turns out he's doing your teeth, and he's like, wait, that's my ex-wife that was on your show.
Yeah.
And
I lived. That was my show. He was just telling me his ex-wife's going to be on a show, and I had all this apparatus, and I'm like, you know, that was my show, and it was the first show I ever did. It was about 15 or maybe
and
more.
It's about relationships. And my parents have been divorced since I was born, basically. And so they both know you. And then I walk and I finally meet you. I've heard about you for years. But really? I finally, my mom's mentioned, my dad's mentioned, your mom was on a show. You know, I keep hearing about you from each other, both sides, which are, you know, very different. And then I finally see you, a month or so ago, walking my dog.
I know. And then your dad was just telling me. In fact, he didn't know that I met you outside. He said, you know, you should really talk to Jen. Maybe you guys could do something online. And I said, just met your daughter. It was just
That's hilarious. Yeah, that's so funny.
yeah.
So the relationship guru. So I did a binge watching of your show for like 4 hours, 4.5 hours, stuck in the car, which I don't do very well with. And I liked all the relationship topics. You talked a lot about codependency, which is something that I'm educated on. I also am experienced on. So that's an interesting one.
I think that we're all codependent. I think it's normal to be codependent. I mean,
right.
And that's what I think one of this virus and this pandemic is absolutely beyond words horrific. But the component of not being able to be around people with any guarantee of safety is beyond our normal thinking, and it should be beyond our normal thinking. I mean, God created us for relationships with Him and with us. And that's really what makes people happy, is to be in happy relationships, whether it's family, friends, whatever, working. You know, when you become unhappy, the relationships in your life are not working. You know, usually people leave their jobs, not so much because they're not doing the job, but because of relationship issues. So even in the career aspect, you know, it's like, what do you love? What do you love to do? You could love to do something, but if you have people you're working with that are, you know, very awful. So the codependency, I think that it's normal to be codependent. I don't think that we should want to be completely independent of other people. That's not healthy.
Right.
But like everything else in life, like where's the balance? How do you find a balance with it?
Right.
You know,
We're social beings.
Yeah, in anything, you know, like, are you a obsessive worker? I mean, people could have one drink a day or a week and be okay with it. It's when situations become unmanageable and out of hand where it becomes a problem. So, yeah, I mean, I admit that I'm codependent. I'm okay with it. But I know the difference between basing my whole life on another person and other people. And I know when I start to feel miserable. And you know what, also, Jen, our bodies don't lie. I mean, oftentimes our minds lie to us about problems, but then it manifests in the body somehow, whether it's an illness or too much eating, no eating, too much sleeping, no sleeping, anything, even a rash or a pimple or so many things that are happening. And I think now more than ever, because of the virus situation we're in, our immune systems are so sensitive to our emotions. So if we're in problematic relationships, I think now more than ever, we have to really take care of ourselves, have self-care and self-love, because it's going to only build up our immune system. You know, I mean, it's so critical now to be
definitely. Good to be harmonious, especially the times are so crazy. I feel like at least we can control our circles, our families, our friends, and, you know, mend fences. I only have maybe one relationship that's a little askew right now, but the rest are all pretty cool. And it feels good. Yeah, it feels good to be like, oh, you know, I talked to a friend last week and then it's like, oh, you don't hate me? No, I don't hate you. Oh, this is so great. It feels so good. And it's like, wow, I walk around the rest of the day and the next day so much lighter because it's really heavy. It really can weigh on you and ruin your life in so many areas to walk around thinking that you have an enemy somewhere. It doesn't feel good.
Definitely. There's even a codependency support group called Love Addiction. I did a show on that. I don't know. I don't think that one's on YouTube. Where you can actually develop an addiction to a person, just like you would to alcohol or any other substance, but it's to a person, and that's codependency to the max, usually in a romantic relationship. You know, so yeah, that could be just as deadly as alcoholism. It really is, being with
and it could work, I guess.
Person. You become.
I guess it could work.
I mean,
I think of my last relationship. It was like, I feel like my dog a lot. I compare myself to my dog and dogs because excited. I'm like sad during the day. Oh, when's he coming home? And then he comes home. I'm like, oh, it's so great. Cool. Like, let's have dinner. I eat by myself and it's like, it could work. But the thing is, if it's going to end, which most things in life end, or people get sick or they die or they have to move, you know, it's not always, you know, like you get in a fight. If you're living for someone, that's not healthy. And you're
That's
like,
my point. Yeah.
wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's love addiction at its max, is basically like what a dog does when their owner comes home, but that's
Right.
okay for a dog. But for us, yeah, it becomes like a merry-go-round. If you think of the person as a merry-go-round, they're always going around your brain, and that's all you
Hmm.
focus on,
Yeah.
and then there's the rituals of the jealousy. What are they doing? Do I track their phone? Snooping and stalking and all kinds. In fact, so many crimes of passion, like murders, um,
Hmm.
that are, family related and relationship related. I think those people have a love addiction. That's what
Yeah.
I think.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. It's
Yeah.
nice when it's fun and happy. Like, it's cool.
Well, in the beginning,
Yeah.
it's great, like any addiction. I mean,
Yeah.
I haven't really been addicted to anything, but everyone will tell you, having worked with alcoholics, like, yeah, in the beginning, it was great to be high, and
True. True.
but after a while, it destroys your life. That's how addictions are. In the beginning, they're so enticing. That's why people become involved in them.
Right.
It's a distraction from all the mundane problems of living.
Well, I would
You know?
consider, I mean, I've never been diagnosed by anyone as an addict, but I would self-diagnose because I just think I have an addictive personality, but I can make it healthy-ish. I can make it the gym. I can make it meal prepping. I meal prep for maybe 24 hours the last 2 days. I did for myself. And then I had a client come over and she sat down. She didn't feel good. I meal prep from 3 p.m. to 8:30 for her mostly.
Oh,
But
wow.
it's
Well,
like
that's
I
a
will.
healthy way. Yeah, yeah, that's really good.
Mhm.
That's a healthy place to put what you can overdo. So that's good. That's
Yeah.
why I became a social worker, because
Hmm.
I always wanted to fix people and help them. So I
Hmm.
said I may as well do it professionally and get paid for it and not get drained by the people
Right.
in my own life who are not going to listen to me anyway. So it's so different,
Yeah.
like when someone goes to a therapist, pays the money. Mostly they don't listen, but the ones that do, they think you have so much brilliance, whereas you can tell
Mhm.
a good friend or a family member, they're like, you don't know me, you can't tell me anything. So yeah, it's true. You put your stuff that you know you have an addictive personality with into
Yeah.
something positive. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
because
people do that. Lots
I
of
can
people
eat for
do that.
hours. I would never be alcoholic. I get sick from it, but the eating thing
Yeah.
that, people die from that. My dad
Yeah, that's
touched
right.
that.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Oh, I
instead of
used to live on that too. Yeah. Yeah.
entertainment, yeah, helping
Me too.
people. Do you notice, well, you
Yeah.
said you don't have really addictive personality, but do you notice that maybe you're helping people and after you feel like content? Because I'll feel like that after I see a client sometimes. I'll be like, oh,
Yeah,
I don't have
definitely.
to eat anything bad. I don't have to do anything that is addictive. I just feel great.
Yes, yes. Actually, I do have somewhat of an addictive personality with people's approval,
Okay.
and maybe attention seeking. And I knew that when I was in college. I volunteered for a suicide hotline and I got accepted, and it was a great honor. I mean,
Mhm.
19 years old to get on a suicide hotline. The training was the best, better than when I went for my master's, the best training I ever went through helping people. But I did it because I really wanted to be around people. I liked the people on the hotline. I wanted to have a lot of friends. And I wanted to help people also, but
Mhm.
really selfishly, I wanted to have a lot of friends. I wanted to be liked and approved of. So
Right.
I put that, instead of obsessing over who likes me, who doesn't like me, I put that into a hotline where I could help people that were suicidal. So
Mhm.
yeah, I use my own codependency for the work that I do. And I
But
definitely do. I mean, I think it's therapeutic when, I tell people now in COVID, especially, if you're sitting around, call people that you know are alone and they're not
mhm,
doing well, or maybe even volunteer on a hotline. They have a lot of like COVID hotlines now.
definitely.
Volunteer. It's the best therapy, because one of the worst things that we can do to be depressed is to stay in our own head all the time.
That's true.
We just,
Mhm.
the problems could just go round and round. When you hear other people, you know that you're not so crazy,
Right?
they
I
have
mean,
more
yeah.
problems than you.
I got into my
Yeah.
head just yesterday a bit. It's like, okay, I have to perform on Saturday stand up. I'm still new, so these things get me so nervous that my throat closes up and I have this to do and this to do. And I start getting in my own head and I start feeling like doubt creeping in. And then my grandma, who's 96, and she called as if God was speaking through her and gave her a pep talk. She goes, "Hi, thank you so much for visiting me," because I had just gotten home, and she enjoys it so much that I get a call after I leave her to
Oh,
thank
wow.
her for visiting. And she said, "You're so great. You're going to do awesome. This is, everything I needed to hear." And I was like, "Oh, it was so nice to just talk to her for 15 minutes." She asked me about 5 times what I'm doing. And I said, "I'm making cakes. I'm taking a shower," and it's, even though the conversation was nonsensical for a bit, it was just very nice to connect with another person who was so upbeat and so happy that it twisted me right out of where I was going. And I was like, "Oh, stop thinking like that. Think like her."
Yeah, and you helped her. You helped her. I'm sure she enjoyed the company that she had on the phone
Mm-hmm.
with you. Yeah, yeah. See, that's the point. That's a really big key for people that are suffering depression and anxiety. Whoever gets so focused on self.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big component actually in the Bible with God, is that the greatest things we can do is to help other people. That's when we get blessed. I mean, it's, if you look at it through Buddhism, it's karma. There's always that pay it forward aspect to living. And I
Mm-hmm.
keep telling people now more than ever, pay it forward, because everyone's in some kind of battle. Even if
That's
you're living in complete fear, that's a major battle. I mean, I think the consequences of this COVID are just as deadly as the virus can be, maybe more so. Maybe
mm-hmm.
the consequences that have come from this. I mean, the suicide rate for young people, I think it's high school people or college, is off the charts. Just
Wow.
never before has it been that hard. I mean, I can't imagine being a college student now and not being able to be with other people in my dorm or school, or living like this. I mean, it's hard enough at my stage of life. I can't imagine it, for young kids. It's children. I mean, it's
Yeah,
so
you have to go out of your way so much to be social. I mean, I make it almost like a workout routine. Like, okay, we're going to be social. We have to carve that in. I know how important it is,
right.
but most people aren't as intentional, I don't think. And
No,
especially if you're in your young 20s, really, do
yeah.
you know how to model your life? I don't know about that. I didn't.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. The whole thought of walking around fearing a virus, a mask, it's like, I don't even know, like some kind of evil planet, that so these consequences are really bad. And the news is fear mongering. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
always has been.
Mm-hmm.
And now people are home more, so they're watching the news more. This virus, that country, I'm not minimizing it. I know it's real, but
Right.
so emotional and spiritual aspects of
Yeah.
this. People are not nurturing and taking care of that. They're just worried they don't want to get the virus, and there's more to it than that.
And we were already very separated, I think. I live in suburbs in Long Island, and some of the neighbors are close, but there's only so many things that divide us, whether it's race, gender, religion, vegan, keto, and now you have to fear other people are going to kill you. I mean, oh my,
Now that's what I mean. People are the bullets. Yeah.
right. So that's why I wanted to mention that, the whole textbook model of the narcissistic codependent relationship, it's almost like humans versus the government is mimicking that a little bit, because we have the government basically that's telling us fear each other. So now people are alone, and a lot of codependents are alone. So they become latched onto a narcissist. The narcissist tells them what to do. You have to get their approval. We have to get, government approval. Is this right? Is that right? Every week the mandate changes. Are we going to do the right thing? I don't even know if I leave my house, I'm breaking the law anymore.
I know. That's right. I mean, who would have? I know. I know. And
And then
it's
no money. We're not really
yeah,
making money. So we're
right,
monetarily dependent on the government. So it is
right.
very similar to a narcissistic abuse relationship.
Yeah, it is. It really is. That's a great analogy. Yeah, it really is. I mean, and also because the narcissist personality changes so much from the beginning of the relationship, and they're so different with strangers and with outside people than they are to the intimate person. Completely
Mm-hmm.
different. And that's how the government is too. I mean, the government appears one way to some people on some news
Mm-hmm.
channel, and who knows what's really going on behind the scenes with each other. So much
Mm-hmm.
corruption and abuse. So yeah, that's an interest. And then we're kind of like like helpless. Like, what do we do?
I feel like I'm kind of in a coda group with the people that talk about the virus, because we're all in this together but apart, and we have this daddy government, mommy and daddy government that people look up to. Please help us. Please don't do anything bad to us today. And we're all in it. And people will message me and they're nervous about this or upset about this or mad about this. So I feel like we're all in a coda group, kind of. I mean, a weird enough.
COVID coda.
Yeah, right. COVID coda. Are you okay? Yeah. Are you being treated okay today?
I know,
and we're helpless.
I know. And yeah, we are. And the whole political agenda, there's so many, I don't know, conspiracy theories. I don't know if they're real. We don't know what's real. And now there's a vaccine that's out. You have to take it. Really? I mean, is it going to work? We're not sure. Is it safe? We're not sure. But you have to take it. And people want it, they don't want it. I don't even know what the truth is anymore. And that does happen in a narcissist relationship. Is it my imagination? Are they this abusive, or is it me? Because I see them talking to that person and they're so pleasant and nice, so yeah, there's a lot of confusion. Yeah.
You can't question narcissists. They'll go, excuse me, wait, what? And make up facts, or they'll throw them off guard. So God forbid you ask a question and say, wait, I don't know about this mask idea, or I don't know about this curfew at 6 p.m. Does that make sense? I don't know about that. Oh no, don't question that. Get kicked off Facebook. Get kicked off Twitter.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Yeah, I know. That's right. The censorship. We've never been censored like this. Yeah, this is frightening. Yeah. I don't know where we are between the COVID, the politics, the vaccine. I don't know what planet I'm living on sometimes.
Right.
Yeah. So it's very easy to lose your sense of hope and perspective and goals and how to manage your day. And does it even matter to wake up? What am I, even going to do? I have people living in their pajamas, so, shower, get dressed, go out for a walk are really important things. And I don't know, I'm not a doctor, but I don't understand people walking around alone with masks in the fresh air. I just don't get it.
Yeah.
The air, you want the oxygen, I mean, there's no one near you. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
When there's no one around.
Yeah.
That's a weird one.
I see it all the time.
I do relate to the whole, like, does a day even matter? What am I even doing? Because, I kind of went back and forth because I always think about what's going on in the world and I'm very introspective. So the last 2 days throughout the day, I'll either go to other ends of the spectrum. Like, okay, we're going to take a shower. We're going to do this face mask. And I did a pedicure just before this. So part of me is we're going to be the best we possibly can. So when the world opens up, I'm ready and it's great. But for 2 months, I was eating keto pizzas, which is just basically bowls of melted cheese. And I put on 14 pounds. So I felt that as well. And then part of me, what's the point? Why am I even planning for this show on Zoom? Maybe I should just give up everything. I mean, I get it. I get the feeling of giving up.
Yeah, I did that the first couple of months too. And then I said, well, it looks like this is our reality for at least a year or two. And we have to not give up. We have to try to do the best we can in spite of the situation. Every day I tell myself, well, okay, I'm healthy. In the beginning, when this happened, I didn't even know if I was going to be okay from day to day. I mean, we still are not sure, but I'm not quite as frantic about it as before. I don't know if that's good or bad, but
no, it's definitely, you don't want to be going to sleep with a spine rattling. That's what it felt like. It felt like the base of my spine was rattling. I was so afraid that I would just get sick in the middle of the night.
Yeah. I got one of those oxygen monitors. I was checking oxygen all day. I mean, checking my temperature. I just, the way when this all first got blasted in March, it was like, you don't know at any moment you could just be dead. I mean, wiped out and it just was unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of us did extreme things at the beginning, double mask, oxygen monitors. And after 2 months, I didn't see a boyfriend. I said, what am I going to do? Break up with someone because he's an essential worker and never see him again and not ever see all of my friends who are essential workers. And I kind of gave up after.
No, me too. I've done a few weekend trips and, I saw my boyfriend too. And so, I know it's, I just said I have to have life. Yeah, I have to. I'm going out to dinner. I'm doing my thing. But I think that for the big message before we close is that accept that life is different now. However, it doesn't mean that you can't learn some lessons here, whatever they may be. I think it's definitely important to have some kind of faith in something or someone. For me, it's God. To develop some spiritual life, to talk to people as much as you can in any capacity, even if you don't want to meet them in person. But I am. Certain people I feel safe and some I don't. I'm trying to, like I said in my lecture tonight, I said I'm going out to dinner, visiting friends that I don't think are around a lot of people. Like I had friends that were at the Capitol, and I didn't want to see them for a couple of weeks until I knew they were okay. And they agreed, maybe that we wouldn't be wise. And I made a joke. I said, I wouldn't go to a COVID ward and start hugging people. I mean, we need a balance here. So, but try to think maybe of something you wouldn't normally do, like join a hotline, or call your neighbor, go grocery shopping for them. I mean, offer to do things. I wouldn't go into a nursing home because that's high risk, also healthcare. But if you think there's someone on your block that, might need help, knock on their door, can I get you something?
That's a good one.
Things like that. Taking someone's garbage can even. So many times I see garbage cans on the street, people are working. I'll just pull it in. I'm hoping it's the right house, but usually it's in the right location. But small things like that, and the main thing is, Jen, it gets you out of your own stuff.
It does.
It really does. The greatest therapy is helping someone else. And then something happens in the universe, in God's planet. We end up getting blessed because of it. The more good we do, the more good comes to us.
I think that's very good advice. And you know what? I did that yesterday. I woke up very tired because I was so busy. So it was a designated rest day. But I said, okay, I'm not going to do much today. I'm going to wrap up my special carrot cake for my mom. I drove it to the library, gave her a care package. I went to my grandma's. She was very happy to see me, brought her a care package. And then I've never done this before. And this might be a suggestion for anyone to watching. Final thought. An acquaintance of mine who moved to Georgia, her parents are celebrating a 60th anniversary. They're 82 years old. They can't leave their house. So she asked her friends on Facebook to send them something. So I said, well, what are your parents like? She said, giraffes and crossword puzzles. So I printed out some crossword puzzles. I wrote them a note. I printed out my chili recipe. And I wrote a note to people I don't even know in Georgia and sent them a happy anniversary letter. So
that's so nice. That's
great. So we can always do something creative. There's a lot of
giving your heart to someone. We may not be able to be with them, but it's the heart transference. That's really good. That's wonderful.
we could do a lot during this time. We can't give up.
Yeah, don't give up. Don't give up. Take a shower. Go for a walk. Don't give up. It's just nice, to put makeup on today. I mean, because that's something. I mean, you can't wear lipstick, the mask, but just to put makeup on, to do yourself up, even if you just go to the grocery store or just go for a walk, do it once a week, just so you feel good about yourself. The men shave. Somebody came on my Zoom tonight with the library. He had a beard down to here, and I'm like, is that you? I mean, all right, if you like it, but if you're just doing it because you figure it's COVID, that can't be good for someone's self-esteem.
No, because it transfers. I didn't shave my legs for 2 weeks, and I was noticing, then this happens, and you let go of this, and you let go of this, but you shave your legs, you keep yourself up, and
exactly. Shave your legs. Exactly.
Really, but we all need a break, so sometimes it's good to just take a couple days or a week and just chill.
That's true too. A balance, again, have a balance.
Well, Marla, thank you very much for your 34 minutes.
Thank you, Jen.
Hopefully there's some helpful comments.
And I look forward to doing more and someday meeting you in person, like maybe walking your dog again or something.
That would be great. That would be great. Walking the dog. And